Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. Today, I'm joined by Sigrun Gudjonsdottir, an award-winning business coach, entrepreneur, and global leader in helping women build scalable online businesses. Sigrun is known for her direct, no-nonsense approach and her mission to accelerate gender equality through female entrepreneurship. And I hope in this conversation, we're going to take a look at what really takes to grow a successful business without losing the personal connections that make it possible and meaningful, and why relationships become even more important at scale. So, welcome to the show. And I'm sorry if I butchered your last name, but I'm not going to say it again. So, we're all good. But I did learn something from asking you about it. So, first of all, welcome, Sigrun, to the show.
Thank you for having me, Janice. It's a pleasure.
I love how you just emailed me, I think, as I
Yeah.
recall, and you are Icelandic, living in Zurich part of the time and Reykjavik in the other part of the time. A world traveler. Europeans tend to be more cosmopolitan than we North Americans ever are, I think. I'm going to ask you, how many languages do you speak?
I speak fluently 3. And then I could say that I also speak Danish besides Icelandic, German, and English, but no, not really. Yeah. So
Yeah,
3
but see, that's two more than I speak. So to start with, anyway, because we just don't have that same need, I guess, because we speak English, and everybody in Europe that doesn't speak English as a first language always seems to learn it. So yeah, it's fascinates me. Anyway, all right, to dig right in, I want to ask you first of all that you have about your bold mission around accelerating gender equality through entrepreneurship. So let's get into what led you to this work. Let's start there.
Yeah. Well, I'm born and raised in Iceland, and we have been leading in gender equality for quite some time. The last 17 years, WEF has recognized us as being number 1.
Wow.
Not because we have achieved it, it's because everyone else is worse. Uh, but I still grew up feeling like I could do anything. I was raised in the belief that girls, women can do anything. So I was a bit shocked around the age of 16 when I decided to do a course. Um, my hobby was sewing and knitting because I got that from my grandmother and mother.
Sure.
And I became very passionate about sewing. And by the age of 16, I was very good at it. So I wanted to learn how to make my own clothes. And for that, you need to learn how to do a pattern. And
Yes.
so I did a course at a dressmaker's home. And we were about 8 women, but I was 16. My parents had to drive me there. You only get the driver's license with 17 in Iceland. They had to
Okay.
drive me there and pick me up in the evening. But the other women, they were in their 40s and 50s. And so we did not have much in common except that hobby. And so middle of the evening, this was an evening course, we would take a break and they would drink their coffee. I would drink my Coca-Cola. And I listened to them. And what I heard shocked me because they shared about dreams that they had not made come true. And then they started to share why they had not made their dreams come true. And it was the typical things that we still hear today. I got married, I had kids, I didn't have the education, I didn't have the skills, and on after weeks. It turned me into a feminist. I
Interesting.
really became super passionate. I don't want to be like these women.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make my dreams come true. So I took a few decisions. First of all, I want to make my dreams come true. Second, I decided not to have children.
Oh,
Now, I
wow.
do believe women can have both,
Yeah.
but something was like, I was just furious that society held women backward. I mean, it's a combination, what they believe and what society is reflecting back to them. I did get bonus children. They were 4, my stepsons, and they're now 21 and 22. So I do think I did a good job.
Okay,
And
fair
I
enough.
do not regret getting bonus children, but
Yeah.
at the age of 16, this felt like a very logical decision based on what I was hearing.
Yeah, but a big one for a 16-year-old. Yeah.
Yeah, I was never into dolls. I mean, so I think it was a combination of what I had played with. My mom really wanted me to have dolls, and I could choose anyone I wanted, and I was like, I want the black one there. There was one black one out of hundreds. So I just, and then I started to play with the cars that my brother had. So
Yeah.
I think I was just never that type. Third decision was um, that I would do something about it. You
Mm,
know, I didn't know what, but one
yes.
day I would do something about it. Yeah, but these are actually four decisions because I decided to follow my dreams. Yeah,
Mhm.
no, sorry. The fourth decision was I would never have a man stop me.
Oh, that's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think for a woman, the choice of a husband plays a crucial role in what is possible for her later on. Just having a husband that believes in you and
Mhm,
supports your dreams, however crazy they might seem,
mhm,
uh, has been really important to me. I got married quite late. Met my husband. I was at 38.
mm.
Uh, so yeah, um, it
So
has helped me
you
a lot.
so you had that time to pave your way. You took a
Yeah.
lot of school. I know that you
Yes.
made,
My mother's
made
like, "You don't need another degree," and I'm like, "Yes, I need another
you
degree."
armed yourself
I
on all
armed myself.
sides.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was determined that I would take care of myself. I never wanted to rely on someone. So I did believe in love. I did not reject
Fair
men
enough.
or marriage because my parents are my best role models. They met when they were 13. They're
Wow.
now turning 81.
Yeah.
Uh,
They
and
look lovely. I saw a picture of them and
yeah,
look
and
healthy and yeah.
so I had the best role models. So I believed in love,
Mhm.
but I want to make sure that it would not be a love that would then, keep me in prison
Stifle
as well.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
stifle me in somewhat shape or form. But this was a turning point, and then of course for a while I didn't do anything special about the gender equality topic, but
Mhm.
it definitely guided me in terms of relationships, in terms of decisions I was taking along the way. And I studied architecture. It was my dream to become an
Mm.
architect. But then I realized I didn't want it anymore. I still finished, so I'm a licensed architect, but
Okay.
I decided to move into computer science because as I am approaching graduation in architecture, the virtual world comes out. We
Mhm.
can do VRLM, not just HTML, we can do VRLM. And I got totally fascinated about doing 3D worlds that you could just walk in, I mean, virtually with an
Yeah.
avatar.
Yeah.
The whole thing never took off. I still today it's not taken off, but I was doing cutting edge things back in 98, 99, and I loved it. But I realized what I was doing was not very practical. But it led me to computer science, and then I started to work in software companies. I was just a project manager there. And then the dot-com boom
Mhm.
came and
Mhm.
people were let go. And
Mhm.
then I had to kind of uh, redesign my job. So I joined a business course for 3 months, evening course. And there I created a business plan. And then with the business plan, I went to a company and said, hire me because I didn't dare to start a business yet. You
Oh,
know,
so that wasn't in the works yet. You never thought of working for
no,
yourself.
I
Okay.
did not really see myself as an entrepreneur. We
Okay.
hear these stories of people that were selling when they were six, they were selling cards and stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. So then I'm not an entrepreneur.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And these are just beliefs. These are not facts or
Right.
truth. It's you carry with you these beliefs. So I was like, no, it and I felt it was risky.
Yes, of
Now,
course. Yeah.
now I take
Yeah.
much bigger and riskier decisions, but you gotta first learn. You gotta first
Yes.
learn it. So I got that job and uh it turned out to be a blessing working at the small software company, because a year later, the company sold. There is a businessman in Iceland that kind of owned a lot of companies, and he decided to sell them all in one go to another business guy that owned a lot of companies. So for the next 2 weeks, nobody contacted us. We were too small to be contacted. They just focused on some big companies that needed to be dealt with. And I started to have this crazy idea I could become the CEO. I had no
Ah,
business background, no business education except that 3-month evening
yeah,
course. But, at first I was just putting it away, and then it came back again and again. And I think when you have a good idea and you're meant to do it, it comes back to you.
sure.
At some point, you have to act on it, of course.
Yes.
But
So
that's how
you,
I ended up being a CEO and did that for
so
10 years. Yeah.
that was you developing what we call in the best way to describe that is a Yiddish word, chutzpah. When you had the chutzpah or the nerve to
Yeah.
to do that, and that took you on a new path in a way, right? Because you became the CEO.
Totally.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
interesting.
was lucky with the guy who, he was not the main guy who had bought the business. He was like a part owner, but he became my mentor. And
Oh, okay.
there's a part of me that doesn't believe in luck. Maybe it's destiny. Who knows what you want to call it? But suddenly I was there with a small company, 15 people only, but it had been losing money for 7 years. And I had never run a business before, but I have common sense. So I'm
Yes.
like, the business cannot be losing money. I have to turn it around. My mentor gave me some tips, but he didn't run the business. He knew nothing about software. He
Mhm.
was from retail, I mean, selling fruit and vegetables. So he just was very good with numbers. But he said,
Yeah.
you need to turn this company around. And I'm like, okay.
Okay.
And so I took the binders from the bookkeeping department, took with me home, and that was my evening reading. Luckily, at the time, I was not married or in a
Right.
relationship, so I could dedicate myself 100% to this task. And by looking through the books, I learned bookkeeping. I discovered some assets
Mhm.
that were not, public. I discovered, for instance, a massive voucher we had with a media company. And I'm like, and then I went to my boss, the owner of the business, and I
Yeah.
said, can you turn this into cash? I mean, you have some connections that I don't have. And he said, great, he'll do that. So he was able to turn some of it into cash. We owed so much money. They should have closed us down, pension
Wow.
funds and stuff. But we had a pension fund with a bank. And at the same time, my programmers were working for the bank. So I had an idea. I called up the bank and said, I owe you some money. It was a different department. So the department we were working for didn't know about it. But I explained the thing. I said, we owe money there. We are working for you over there. Can we make a deal that I get half paid and half goes there and we keep on working together? And they agreed to it. And so I just kept,
Yeah.
maybe it was even better that I was not business educated, because I didn't
Yeah.
know what was okay or not
Yeah.
okay. And I just kept on being creative,
Yeah.
extending payment terms, or if I owed someone a lot of money and there were interest on it, I'm like, if I pay you today, will you have the interest go away?
Yeah. So you were just you it's sort of that innocent um
Yeah.
yeah, piece that gets you what you need to. You're not afraid to ask because there's nothing to lose, really. You've never
Yeah.
had to experience it before. It's great. I love it. Yeah.
And so while I'm doing this, I am my computer science, I'm doing computer science on the side, but of course I take a bit of a break during this whole thing because this is a more than a full-time job, a
Yeah.
turnaround. I successfully turned the company around, and then my boss says, okay, I have another company for you, 75 employees. And I'm like, oh,
Uh-huh.
okay. That one was hopeless. I mean, I tried my best for a few months and I saw this was a big bite.
Right.
And they had supply chain, they had logistics, they had a retail store. it was much more complicated than a simple software company. At some point, I said to my boss, "This is not going to work out."
Yeah.
Uh, and well, or at least I'm not the right person for it because it felt
Hmm.
way. I think they had waited way too long with the whole thing. So,
Hmm.
but I had done a good job with the other business. He sent me back to that company, and I'm like, going back to the small business, that feels a little bit like a downgrade. But then I saw my chance. I said, I would like to have an MBA. And there's a great MBA in London. And he was doing some business in London. So he was kind of open to it. I'm like, this is my bonus for turning around the other company. So you're going to pay for it.
Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And before I started my MBA, I said, oh, I have to finish the computer science because I don't like unfinished things.
Yeah.
And so I rushed through the summer, finishing the last subjects and my thesis, and
Wow.
managed to graduate just in time for the other degree.
Well,
Yeah.
you're obviously um, a, a lifelong learner and love to learn and be in those situations. So when did you leave to start your own business?
So I had met my husband in London just
Okay.
after I'm wrapping up my studies. He is Swiss British. We speak English together.
Yeah.
Both speak German, and I decided to follow him to Switzerland. I had actually lived 1 year in Zurich during my studies, and so it wasn't so foreign to me.
Hmm.
Um, and I did get a job here after looking for a long time, but then I got sick from that job.
Mm.
Uh, and I got neck pain. I still have it today. This is 16 years later.
Wow.
I'm going through some therapy to try to reduce the pain.
Hmm.
But I didn't realize right away that I was getting pain from that work. But in hindsight, it was very clear. The table was a bit higher and chair a little bit lower, and I'm not the tallest. So that proportion, they didn't work. So I was holding up my arm a bit. I mean, just maybe even half a centimeter or a centimeter.
Yeah.
And you do that for a year and you work 9 hours a day at a desk with not much movement. And of course, I was also lazy doing fitness
Yeah.
myself. And ultimately, the pain is just gonna go
Oh
there, and
dear.
and and and,
Yeah.
and it goes into not just the neck; it went into the shoulder, into
Sure.
my arm, into my ear, and
Mm.
and worst thing is the headaches. I mean, you can kind of live with some pain in your body, but the headaches just at some point I had headache not just on Friday or Thursday or Friday, it was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I
Yeah.
thought like, oh, this is work related. And at some point it just didn't go away. So I was 7 months on sick leave and I tried everything to figure out what this was. My conclusion, this is actually from a friend based in San Francisco. Uh, he wanted to have a Skype call with me. We had Skype back then. Yes, we
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
and and then typically an American will ask, how are you doing? And you're supposed to say, I'm fine. And
Fine. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not fine. I have this pain. And
Yeah.
he's like, oh, this is RSI, repetitive strain injury.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you have this monotone movements again and again, and especially if you have my posture isn't the best. I
Mhm.
was born with a exaggerated S curve, so
Mhm.
there's not much you can do except just try to focus on your
Mhm.
posture. But it happens also more to people that are ambitious and focused, and you know the A type of people.
Yeah.
So you kind of just blame it on like my employer, although they
No.
have a part in it with the long hours and
Yeah.
wrong office equipment. It's also me just being
Well, you
yeah,
weren't aware
somehow.
of it because you weren't focused on you. You were focused on what you were
No,
doing.
I had no
Yeah,
idea.
for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, gradually I became well enough to do something. I mean, to work
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
even though the pain is still there. And then I got a job that as a country manager for Icelandic software company in Switzerland. And then I got used to home office and I loved it. This
Yeah.
is long before COVID. And I was like, I am liking this. Even if I'm a social person, I really like just
I felt
waking
that way
up in the
too
morning.
For
Yeah.
me, it was COVID that did that, but yeah, totally.
Yeah. But I had to drive to the customers
Mm,
sometimes for an hour, and they were schools,
mm,
and I had to do some cold calling. So these two things, I was like, I'm getting pain from the driving, and I really hate cold calling.
yeah.
I, it's not my thing. I don't want to, you know, convince anybody of having a meeting with me, and really. So ultimately, I suggested that they let me go, and then I was unemployed. And then I went to the unemployment office and they said, you're unemployable.
Uh-huh.
So they actually suggested that I start a business. It was not
You're too
like
overqualified probably for anything.
I had started to think about it, but they pushed me and
Mhm.
said, we'll support you for 4 months without you having to look
Yeah,
for a job if you start your own business. But after 4 months, we
yeah.
cut all benefits.
Huh,
And that's how I started my
started.
business, more out of a need than desire, but obviously,
Yes,
of course,
yes.
happy with doing it.
It's funny because I don't know if I just read it somewhere or heard somebody say it, but probably it was on social media. But somebody was asking, what do you think the average age of somebody is that starts their own business, the entrepreneurial thing? And the answer was 42.
Yeah.
Like in your 40s is when the most success comes from being an entrepreneur. And but I think it's obviously there's more to it than that because you have to, know what you're doing or have the mindset and the you have to want to do your own thing. Because like I think it's a perfect time for one of my daughters who's having real issues finding a job because she got laid off about a year ago. But she doesn't feel, I don't think, that she knows or wants to do her own thing.
Mm,
And yet she needs to have flexibility because she has a little girl that needs her, but she needs to do something. She needs to support herself too. So it's just she needs the flexibility of working from home, which she did with the other jobs that she's had, but doing it on your own is a bit scary. Anyway, let's talk a
yeah.
bit about um, you've worked with women globally, thousands of women um, who are starting their own businesses, who want to scale their businesses. They are working for themselves. What would you say separates those who succeed from those who struggle when it comes to um, growing their business, building relationships along the way, all of the good stuff that it takes to be successful?
I would say, well, first of all, you need to have a positive attitude. You cannot be an entrepreneur. I mean, I think it's kind of built into the whole thing is that you got to believe the best is going to happen. Otherwise, you wouldn't start the journey. So you shouldn't look at all the details. If you start to look at all the details that lay ahead of you,
You
you're
won't
just
do
going
it.
to retreat and not do it. So
Yeah.
it's having a little bit, what do you call the
Rose-colored
glasses?
glasses.
Rose
Yeah.
colored
Yeah.
glasses.
Well, that's
It's
why they
like,
call entrepreneurs the visionaries, right? It's the big
yes.
picture. Yeah.
Yeah. So we see the
Okay.
big picture. It's good to ignore the details because if you know all the details, you're not going to start
Okay,
the
fair
journey.
enough.
So
Yeah.
it's having a little bit this not Pollyanna mindset, but
No.
optimistic mindset. Always having the glass half full.
Yeah.
There's a solution to every problem. I mean, business is a series of problems that you just look at positively rather than seeing it as a negative word.
Okay. Okay.
I would say then that's the first thing, and the second thing is perseverance. I mean, this is not a sprint. It is
Mm.
this long game, and if one way doesn't work, then you try another way, and then you try another way. And the sad thing is, people come in like all excited sometimes into a program and want to learn how to do this, but then something doesn't work out, and instead of picking themselves up and trying it again or trying a different method, uh, they blame the program or the coach or just like, I'm not cut out for this.
Right.
But
Can you
I think
tell?
anyone can do it if they have the stamina.
So can you tell well, I guess you probably don't. Do you, do people just sign up for your courses and
Yeah.
then you see them when they're already in? But can you tell who you think's going to make it through and who isn't pretty quickly?
Well, yeah, it definitely is an attitude thing. I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes I come to a call and there's a lot of women. Sometimes I run calls and there's 100 women on a call, and
Yeah.
I look at their faces and I see
Yeah.
someone that's just smiling. They're eager, excited. They just want to know what to do next. I'm like,
Yeah.
this person is going to make it because
Yeah.
they're in a positive
Yeah.
mindset, and they're willing to learn, and they're eager to know what's next, versus someone who looks at everything critical and try to find flaws in your teachings. I mean, they're not going to make it.
Yeah, no, that's, I can see that. So you're saying something though that makes me think, I don't know where I read it about you, that you studied Tony Robbins and there was somebody else. Who was the other one?
I am a Dale Carnegie certified trainer as well.
Oh, are you? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And all of those thought leaders back in the day that were um teaching us about that positive thinking and about being the best we can be and so on. Did you ever hear of Jim Rohn?
Yes,
He
very
was
much. Yeah.
oh, he was like amazing. And
Yeah.
he was Tony Robbins' mentor, I think, and that's where
Yeah,
he started from.
exactly.
Yeah. So people that work on themselves and grow, with personal self-help and personal development, I think that's where a lot of, I interview a lot of people, and I think those that are self-employed and successful entrepreneurs, they seem to have worked on themselves,
Yeah, very
right?
much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if you also want to have relationship, which
Hmm.
clients are relationship, like you
Yeah.
need to build a relationship to someone who's not a client, and then they become a client. And if you
Yeah.
want them to be repeat clients, you need to have those good relationships. And a part of it is like knowing yourself and then knowing how other people behave. And for me, this started back when I became a CEO the first time.
Mhm.
I was a bit nervous. Suddenly I was the boss of my peers.
Yeah.
And I saw a big ad from Dale Carnegie, want to build your self-confidence. And I'm like, yay. And then I had some friends like, build self-confidence. They didn't see anything wrong with my confidence, but
Mhm.
I felt I needed to grow into a
Role.
leader, which
Yeah.
I have not learned to do yet. And, you know, many things are so helpful from that Dale Carnegie experience, but a person's name is the most beautiful word they hear. Like, I'm sure you
Mhm.
heard that.
Mhm.
Plus, if you talk to someone and you just ask them a lot of questions, and then the other person will say, "Oh, it was so great to talk to you today." They don't even realize that you were not talking at all. You just ask questions.
I
And then
talk
that's what
about,
you do when you're
I know.
interviewing. Yeah.
I talk about that all the time when I'm talking about networking, right? If someone leaves that conversation and says, "You were so fun to talk to," and you've said nothing, then you've done your job because you wanted them talking about themselves, and they love to do that. So true.
Yeah.
I love the Dale Carnegie thing too. Um, and that brings me to actually talking about names, right? It's like I struggled with your last name and I wanted to get it right. Um, but you gave me the story behind it, and that actually helped. I have to say it did help. But just being, so mentioning somebody's name in a sentence when you just meet them shows it helps you remember their name, but it also shows, so there's things you can do to make people feel more comfortable along that name thing. So that's great, Sigrun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so your you your approach is often described as tough love. How does that actually strengthen relationships with your clients?
It's being brutally honest when they need it without being rude. I mean, it's
Mhm.
on the verge of like, am I hurting the person? And but it's what they need to hear in that moment versus everybody else saying, oh, well, this is going to be fine, and that's not what they need to hear to change their life. And uh, that's what I try to do all the time. So
Mhm.
I say it's one of my values, tough love.
Mm.
Uh, and I remember when I was at this second company trying to do the turnaround that didn't work out,
Mhm.
um, was someone said to me, "You're tough but fair." And
Mm.
I'm like, that's good. I think
Yeah.
that's a compliment. I
Sure.
mean, yeah, yeah,
So it's a calculated risk,
yeah,
um, but it's also a sign of a good entrepreneur. I mean, you have to take those. Taking risks is easier as an entrepreneur. I don't know if it's easier. No, that's the wrong term, but you're willing to do it. You're willing to take the risk. And that's with your client to push them along to see the value um, of not listening to what they want to hear, but isn't going to help them. Right.
yeah.
So, yeah,
I have
that's,
one beautiful example from a long-term client. She's also Icelandic, and she also has blonde hair. And sometimes people think we're sisters, but we're not related at all. We've even checked the DNA database for that.
oh, wow.
We're not
Okay.
related at all. And she had been a client for a couple of years, and she's originally a veterinarian, dog behaviorist, and so she had this membership and online courses around for dog parents. And I always felt she was just not really taking off. We talk about scaling, and that's
Yeah.
my motto. Like, I
Yes.
help women grow, and she was somehow just stuck in the low figures. And I
Mhm.
was like, at some point on a coaching call with other women, so not
Mhm.
one, I said to her, I think if you were really passionate about what you do, you would be more successful. And and there's also some other context around this, but the
Mhm.
thing was, there's something was off. I
Yeah. Yeah.
mean, she was just not, I mean, she was doing it. And then she tells me later on, she thought that she had to do this for the rest of her life because it's what she studied.
Ugh, yeah.
She didn't think she could do something else. It did obviously, I think she broke a bit down, but
Mm.
she respected it and she
Mhm.
agreed. But I didn't see her for 2 weeks, and then she came back and she said, "I took 2 weeks off from this program to kind of
Mhm.
get my thoughts together, and I was at home, looking around my bookshelf." She had a small bookshelf. I've been to her home. It's a tiny
Yeah.
home in Italy. Um, Most of the books were about how to be an author,
Oh,
how to write fiction, and how to self-publish. And yes, there were some dog books there too,
yeah.
but she suddenly had like epiphany.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
And she had written one book and self-published it, but not more. She
Yeah.
was not educated in all, but she said, I'm going to be a book coach. And so she redid my programs with this approach.
Yeah.
And now she's finally crossing the six figures. Finally, finally.
Interesting. But she was educated and from a child, right? Through to getting this degree to be a veterinarian. And she thought she had to be that all her life.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
Yeah.
And today, of course, we don't have to, nobody stays with anything for any length of time, it
No,
seems,
I
right?
think you can do whatever you want as long
Yeah.
as you maybe are not a doctor or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
engineer that builds building. I mean, there has to be, but you don't need a degree to be a book coach. And if you're
No.
honest
Yeah.
about your background, if you say, I have written and published a book, you don't say I've written 10 books and you've only written
Right.
one. I mean, if you're truly honest about your experience, I think anyone can do anything.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting. I often wish that I had learned business skills in school. I
Mm.
learned to be a teacher because that was what I wanted to do when I was in school. And I always wanted to be a teacher. So I taught school. I taught school for 14 years. But then I I didn't like the politics that was happening around being a teacher, and I left and I did some corporate training for a while. But then I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I took, like you took a 3-month course, I took like a 2-week course on how to start your own business because that's all I qualified for. I didn't qualify from like leaving a job because I'd been a contractor as a
Yeah.
corporate trainer. So that's how I sort of started on my own, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I wish I had, because it like it's you say it's never too late, but I'm kind of on the other end of it now. I don't, excuse me one second. There we go. So it's just I wish that one of my daughters is very entrepreneurial and the other one isn't, but the one that is now into corporate America, and it's like it's killing her. It's killing her. She
Mm.
works all the time. It's so hard. She's had 2 businesses of her own, but now she's back working, and learning to be she's a VP of business development and marketing in a company, and she's learning to be a leader, but it's killing her along the way. I see it. But anyway,
Yeah.
so what are some practical ways, and look, I'm looking at the time. What are some practical ways entrepreneurs can scale their business without losing the human touch? Because it's, for me, all
I
about that.
think this is a very important question right now,
Yes.
because we have AI.
Yes. And I know you're into that, and I did want to touch on that a little bit. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you talk about risks before,
Mm-hmm.
I just decided to close my programs and
Mm,
start fresh
okay.
again,
Oh, wow.
yeah, 1st of May. And
This year?
yeah,
Okay.
so the reason is AI. I don't think we can teach in the way we've been teaching. I mean, what typical online course, if someone wants to, be successful online, what I teach them to do is to have a free 4-week course,
Okay.
because you can validate it and there's not so much risk. I mean, the people haven't paid you money, so in case you don't deliver, uh, you know, it was free all along. And
Okay.
you build your list, and then I teach them to do a celebration call after the 4 weeks, and there you present the next program, and that's paid. So
Okay.
this is a process I call Kickstart.
Okay.
Uh, Now I have been asking myself the last 2 years, where are we going with AI and what happens to courses?
Mm-hmm.
I do think people still want to learn from human beings, and it's going to be more important than ever that we strengthen relationships also to friends and
Mm-hmm.
family, and because there's going to be so much flood of AI. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, you can barely scroll through social media right
Right.
now, and everybody is somehow AI
Yeah.
something.
Good deal.
And so I think we're going to lean more into being as human as possible. We're going to use AI to run our businesses,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but we have to, strengthen relationships. So
Mm-hmm.
if they have gotten lost along the way,
Mm-hmm.
this is where we need to come back in. So I've had conversation with my clients, telling them that I'm closing the program and bringing in AI, and they definitely gave me all the feedback I needed to hear. Is that they value the human element.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, they love also, I mean, they need mindset. They say they need that. They doubt themselves. They have insecurities, imposter syndrome,
Mm-hmm.
all the things that makes them procrastinate and not do the work, and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
So these are super important. So you can have AI as much as you want, but humans don't change that fast. And I actually think after COVID, we haven't fully come back to
Mm-hmm.
ourselves. I noticed that with events that I go to, they are not as full as before. When I host
Right.
my own events, I get less people showing up. But I do think AI will push us back to being more human and wanting to meet people and build those relationships.
That's fascinating. But let me just clarify something. When you said you did your previous process was you teach to do a 4-week free program. Is that like once a week, an hour or 2 hours a
Yeah.
week? It's not like full blown 4 weeks. It's just over
Yes,
four.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, and
Okay.
that process still works in the AI world,
Yeah.
except you want to do things live.
Yes.
So the way
Okay.
I'm changing personally my program, instead of pre-recording videos and you go on
Yeah.
some platform and watch it,
Yeah.
typical online training,
Yeah.
uh, I am going more to live workshops.
Okay.
That's more the human element that
Live
we,
in person or live on Zoom or
well,
whatever?
it's still online
Okay.
mostly.
Okay.
Yes,
Got it.
yes,
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So my 4-week process, or let's say the Kickstart process, um, it starts with you knowing what you want to do, then picking a small example. So if we bring back this client that went from
The dogs.
doing dog parenting to book coaching, she was helping dog parents have good relationships with their dogs.
Yes.
And then you have to pick a little problem that you could solve in 2 hours. And that is a 4-week course.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. So the 2 hours,
Mm-hmm.
you teach half an hour each week because
Mm-hmm.
people don't have the stamina for long
Right.
sessions.
Right.
So more than half an hour, especially if it's a free course, even if it's a paid program, I would say half an hour is more than enough. And then have a Q&A call
Mm-hmm.
as well in the same week. So Monday, new module, 30 minutes. Thursday, Q&A call, and and then you have a community. So it
That
can be
builds the
Facebook
trust.
group.
Yeah, that builds the
Yeah,
trust. Yeah. Okay.
because you want to give people assignments,
Yeah.
simple tasks to
Yeah.
do, because it takes at least 21 days to change the behavior. So
Right.
if you want the dog to stop barking, for instance, I mean, it's not going to happen instantly in a session. So you give people tasks every week and they start to see the progress. There's a transformation happening.
Right.
And when we feel transformation, there's a trust to the person that helped us
Right.
have the transformation. And so we want to work with that person. It's no
Right.
manipulation. It's just how we work. I mean,
Right.
if someone has helped me, I want to kind of give back. It's a
Right.
reciprocity. Yeah.
Reciprocity. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you would rather work with someone and pay them for the next program than
Yeah.
go
Just
again on
find
the internet and try to
right.
find someone else.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. So I know that you're now you're teaching people to, I know we have to go. I have to it's gone longer than one should. And I so enjoying talking to you. I may have to have you back to learn more about how you're dealing with the AI, because I know you're now teaching people how to um build their own bots and their own agents now. Yeah. So and what do you have a favorite platform of choice? Oh, you built one on your own website, didn't you? Your own.
Well, I was using ChatGPT from the moment it came out in December 22, all the way up to February this year.
Okay.
What happened in February is that all the AI models updated and got vastly more powerful. And now you can have agents and all that juicy stuff. And you can create your marketing team. And I was working with ChatGPT. I was working on some documents and it started lecturing me.
Oh,
And you can't do this and you can't do that. And after a few days, I was really sick and tired of it. And I went over to Claude, which I had tried out, but was not using extensively. And this was very funny. I told Claude that I have been working on this document. And Claude just said to me, Sigrun, you've been thinking about this for a week. Now just send out the email.
you were tough love. Same.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yes. It was treating me exactly like I wanna treat my clients. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell them honestly what they should do and don't bum around.
Oh, I love it. So I'm about to go over to Claude and test it out because I haven't had time yet, but I've been wanting to. But it's scary because you have to figure out how to get all your thinking over there. Like you know.
It's easy. Claude even has a URL. I think import memory. So Claude.com/import memory. and it tells you exactly what to do to get your memory from another AI tool over.
Love it. Okay. That's my next job.
Yeah.
So thank you. Thank you. I think we have to stop because it's been such a long conversation, but I'm definitely excited about it. It was amazing. And that just from you reaching out to me and us having a short conversation last week, I love it. Thank you so much. Inspiring and interesting. And I really appreciate your perspective on, building a successful business while staying grounded in relationships, because that to me is so important. Um, your We didn't get into this, but as much as think we should have, but that's why I said maybe next time, about the empowering women to build $1 million online businesses. Women, it's about, you had a post the other day, which I loved, and it said female entrepreneur, and you crossed out the word female, and like, why do we have to say that? And I love that conversation, and I think we should have one in the future about that, because it's still happening, right? It's still happening.
I know. And
right?
with AI, women are falling behind there too, which is,
Yes,
that's why my mission is shifting
Yes.
over to business and AI. And
I
not
see
just-
that.
Yeah.
Yes, amazing. So people can find you at sigrun.com, correct?
Sigrun.com is my website, but I
Oh,
also,
right.
for your listener,
Yes, please tell.
it's sigrun.com / the name of this podcast. So
Right, relationships rule. And your book is there, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
You can get my book, Kickstart Your Online Business, that describes the Kickstart process in detail. And that's for free because
That's amazing.
you're listening to this podcast.
Thank you so much. And to my listeners, I encourage you to go there and do that, because Sigrun is a wealth of information, and she is just amazing. And it's a different perspective talking to someone from Europe, not North America. And I love it. But yet it's so worldwide. The whole thing is just, nothing really different about it. And yet there is. I don't know. But anyway, thank you again for being here. Thank you for your insights and your wisdom. And to my audience, please let us know if you enjoyed this this podcast, and we'll have her come back. And remember to stay connected and be remembered. If today's show inspired you to make a new connection, why not start with me? Head over to LinkedIn and connect with me. Be sure to let me know you are a podcast listener, because I select one listener each month who connects with me on LinkedIn for a complimentary profile audit. Don't forget to stay connected and be remembered.